Hey everyone, Jason here, digital marketing consultant, and in this Fiverr review and click-by-click tutorial, you're going to learn how to use Fiverr to outsource work, which gigs are great, which ones aren't so great, and whether or not Fiverr is a good solution for you. So make sure you check out that timestamp table of contents in the description as we jump around the different types of gigs to use, as well as some other helpful links and videos and playlists to using things like Canva that I'll be referencing, along with Upwork and Fiverr alternatives. So before we dive into those 5 gigs in the click-by-click tutorial, there are 3 things you need to know before you jump into Fiverr. And the very first thing is who Fiverr is for. Fiverr is a great service if you're looking to get something done very quickly on the cheap and you don't want to go through the headache and process of posting a job on another service website like Upwork, Freelancer, or Guru. You just need something that's going to be quick and dirty, and you know it's not necessarily going to be all that customized. It's just a standard service that you need a freelancer to take care of for you. Now, when it comes to deciding whether or not Fiverr is for you, Fiverr is not for you if you're looking to have someone do a reoccurring task where you need someone to do something week after week, or you're looking for someone who you can train as a VA and eventually take over more responsibility on your team. If you're looking for either one of those 2 things, then going to Upwork, Freelancer, or Guru is going to be a much better use of your time, because Fiverr is really designed to just productize services, right? So whoever is on Fiverr, they have optimized their gigs so that they're really good at those 1 or 2 gigs that they have. Most of those people aren't really looking to join a team and give up their Fiverr business because they're doing really well. Now, the last thing you need to know before you jump into Fiverr is the types of gigs to avoid on Fiverr, and those are the pro gigs. Look, Fiverr started out as a really great budget solution, and it still is to a certain extent, where every gig was literally $5, and then they started adding on extras, so it was 10 to 20. But now you have gigs that are upwards of 400, and some gigs thousands of dollars, which is not what you should look for if you need that level of commitment from a freelancer. If you need that level of commitment from a freelancer and you actually want someone who's a professional, then go over to a platform like Upwork, Freelancer, or Guru. I know it sounds like a broken record, and work with a real professional, because one of the things that is a downside of Fiverr is as you start to pay more, you'll actually start winding up paying a premium for really no good reason. I'm not sure how the pricing worked out or how this turned out on Fiverr, but the pro gigs that are hundreds of, if not thousands of dollars, are actually way more expensive than if you just went and posted a job on Upwork, Freelancer, and Guru. You can get the same quality, if not better, for a significantly lower price. So with that, let's go ahead and start talking about the best types of gigs as a business owner, entrepreneur, creator, influencer when it comes to growing your audience, influence, and income. So the very first type of gig that I recommend people go to is graphic design. If you're not a graphic designer, then the graphic design gigs are a great place to start on Fiverr. Now, I highly recommend using something called Canva. I'll link to a complete playlist on how to use that in the description, but something that's often hard with the DIY things like Canva when it comes to creating your graphics is it's really hard to come up with that initial idea, right? Like, what should my thumbnails look like? What should the infographic look like? And so Fiverr is a really great place to go and get those initial ideas. So as a quick example, when I published a book years ago, I didn't know what the cover should be. So I went and hired several Fiverr sellers to essentially make the same book cover. And I got 5 or 6 different book covers. It cost me about $100. And then what I was able to do was that I was able to quickly see, I like this design and I don't like that design. So then I was able to take all that knowledge and information. I made some of my own covers, and then I eventually wound up working with a professional, but it was a lot less because I'd already gone through those couple revision processes where I knew exactly what I was looking for at that point, and eventually landed on this cover versus all of the other ones. So even if you're not going to go hire another professional, Fiverr is a great place to get those ideas rolling, and then you can go ahead and use those as inspiration for making your own graphics and templates moving forward if you're on a tight budget and you don't want to keep shelling out money to a Fiverr designer. Now, a quick asterisk here, if you're looking for Instagram content, a majority of those pictures that you're going to purchase on Fiverr are actually actually just stripped straight from other people's Instagram account. Most of those Fiverr sellers who are selling Instagram content or giving you these large packages of photos don't actually have the copyright to the photos that they're giving you. So just avoid those like the plague. Now, the second type of gig that's great on Fiverr are the WordPress developer gigs. Now, hear me out. When it comes to growing your business, your job is not to be a WordPress professional. Something that could take you hours could take a WordPress professional 20 to 30 minutes. So there are a lot of great WordPress gigs on Fiverr that are specific to certain types of problems. And the best way to use Fiverr to fix anything that's on your WordPress site, or if you want to set up a sales funnel on your WordPress site, is to actually know what plugins and software you want ahead of time. Something that I've learned the hard way and from previous clients and students is Fiverr WordPress developers are good at what they do, but you don't want them to be giving you advice on what actual plugins and themes to be using. So you want to go with knowing, I want to use this plugin, I want to use this theme, and I want this result. You need to be very clear because remember, you're getting a really good deal. I was actually able to get a 3-page website done in 48 hours for just $131 on Divi theme. And if you use Thrive themes like I recommend on this channel for your main blog and all of your sales pages and your membership site, you can actually find a lot of gigs that know how to use Thrive. And so what's great about this is Thrive is a drag and drop builder. It's very easy to use if you don't understand WordPress very well, and you're going to be able to pay less because it's a drag and drop builder. Those WordPress developers aren't going to charge as much. Now, the third type of gig I highly recommend using is the virtual assistant gigs. And these are a great place to start if you just have no idea what you need done. You just know you have a lot of work to do and there just isn't enough time in the day. This is where a VA gig comes in handy. Now, remember when we talked in the beginning about a warning in terms of you don't want to view these VAs as someone who's eventually going to come onto your team. If you need to do that, go to Upwork, Freelancer, or Guru. But if you have some projects or you have some research that needs to be done, these VA gigs are an excellent option to begin to optimize your time. Because as a business owner, entrepreneur, creator, influencer, a large part of your job is learning how to delegate tasks. And so even if you feel like it's going to take you just as much time to delegate the task as it would to do the task, go ahead and start developing the skill of delegating the task versus doing the one-off task. And even though it might seem counterintuitive, like, Jason, I'm paying money and it's going to take me just as much time. Well, yes, now, but in the long run, you're going to get much better at learning how to create processes that you can give to other people, which is something that's going to be instrumental in growing and scaling your channel, business, or influence. A fun example of this is you've probably had this experience before where you're watching some YouTube videos on how to do something, how to grow your business or channel, and all of a sudden you go, you know what, that would be really cool if I could do that, but I just don't have the time. Well, Fiverr is a great place to go. Go ahead, take that video, and then just make a quick list of all the information you think the VA would need to complete the task and say, hey, I want you to watch this video and then do it. Here's the information I think you need, and let them go off to the races. That's a great, great place to start. Now, the next type is actually some gigs that you want to avoid, and this is the traffic scams. There are a lot of gigs on Fiverr that promise you lots of traffic, views, engagement, doing promotions. It's all BS, all right? It's not going to push the needle forward. If anything, it's actually going to wind up hurting you, especially if you're looking at those SEO gigs that build backlinks, because Google is really smart. Google is smarter than 99.9% of the people who are doing Fiverr gigs trying to give you crummy backlinks. Those backlinks are just going to hurt your website. Those views to your YouTube videos are all bots. YouTube knows they're bots. They're going to destroy your video. And if you're trying to promote your content across Facebook, then having someone going and spamming a bunch of Facebook groups is not going to be a good image for your brand. So just avoid those gigs. So number 4 here are just the traffic gigs to actually avoid. Now, the final one I recommend is proofreading. And proofreading is that boring one that is just a necessary pain. If you've seen any of my previous videos or been following me for a while, you know that my grammar and spelling is absolutely terrible. It's just something that is not a strong suit at all. So something something that I've learned the hard way to avoid those awkward emails of, hey Jason, that was a great email, but you misspelled this, this, and that, and your grammar was totally off the entire time. You were switching tenses. Well, using proofreading gigs is a great way to immediately elevate the quality of whatever content you're putting out without putting in a bunch more time and energy. And actually, this is the gig that I'm going to use for our click-by-click tutorial. So if you're getting some value and you're still watching, go ahead and hit that like button. Now we're going to dive into my screen and I'm going to show you click-by-click how you can easily hire someone to proofread your content. So in this particular example, I have a small email sequence that we've been working on, and it's just under 2,000 words. So this is a Word doc that I'm going to send off to the proofreader. Now over on Fiverr, I already have the gig lined up that I want to purchase because I've worked with this seller multiple times, but something you'll want to do is you can just go use the category function to find the person you're looking for. Search is kind of a hit or miss, so if you can find it via category, you're actually going to be able to easily find the top rated sellers. And of course, you can use the filtering options. If you're seeing the top rated sellers are really expensive, you're always going to be able to find someone for less. So in this particular instance, what I'd do if this was the first time coming to this gig, I'd go ahead and watch the 60-second video of the person, watch it a couple times so I know them, and then coming down to reviews, it typically shows the most recent. So the most recent, you want to make sure that they're above 4.5 stars, and then we'll go ahead and go to negative reviews. And negative reviews is going to tell you what people did or did not like. Now, one of the things you also want to keep in mind with the negative reviews is how long ago they were. You'll find a lot of sellers when you're looking, especially at the lower price range, they'll have not so good of an average rating, but you'll see that when they first started, they made a bunch of mistakes because they're human, right? So you want to look at the most recent reviews to make sure that the recent reviews are high, and look at the negative reviews to see if it's a uptrend or a downtrend. In this particular instance, it's a downtrend. Most of the negative reviews are over a year ago. There's only one from 2 weeks ago. And clicking the more button, we can go ahead and scroll down and see all the negative reviews and just keep going and going. We'll see most of the negative reviews are from a very long time ago. And so because I've already seen this person's work, I know that they're good, so I can avoid those ignore those negative reviews. But if one or two of the reviews really stand out to you and you go, wow, that looks really bad, then just find another seller. There's plenty of sellers, and you'll also start to figure out which types of negative reviews really matter to you, because sometimes you'll be reading a review and you go, I don't really care that that's a problem. Let me just get this done real quick and real cheap. So the way you go ahead and purchase a gig is you can click this little down arrow to see all of the options. Now, a lot of the new gigs will have some sort of pricing table here. He's just charging $5 per 1,000 words. Now, actually scrolling down here and reading his fine print, you'll see that it's $5 a gig, and he'll proof or edit the 1,000 words. So if I want him to proofread and edit the 1,000 words, then it's $10 per 1,000. So this is why I'm actually going to be $20. So you always want to read the fine print. A lot of the times you'll see some negative reviews, but then you'll go read the fine print and realize they probably just didn't read what actually needed to be done. And so you definitely want to read the entire description. This is a good example of really needing to read the fine print, because if you just paid $5 for the 1,000 words, he just would have proofread it and not actually kind of wordsmithed and edited it like I'd like him to. So for 20 bucks, that covers my 1,900 words. So I'll go ahead and click and continue. And now that I've said all that, actually he does have the reword and wordsmith. So I'm going to 2 times that, and I'm going to bring this down to 2. So I'm paying $5 per 1,000 words, and then I'm paying another $5 per 1,000 words for him to reword and improve the text. And I'll go ahead and click on order now. Then you can use your credit card or PayPal. The service fee is the same irrespective of which one you use. So it's just a personal preference. I just like using PayPal, so I don't actually have to get up. And we'll skip ahead to completing the payment. So we'll just wait for it to process a little bit. And just like that, we're ready to go. So there are a couple basic questions that the Fiverr seller is asking us. So I'll just go ahead and type in what I need, proofreading and editing, just letting him know that I'm okay if we need more gigs to complete the process. I'll go ahead and go to my attachments and open that up. So there's the Word doc, and then we don't actually need to say anything here. So I'll just put 2 characters there. yes, the information is complete, and we can go ahead and start the order. And with that, the order is live. So we just wait a couple days for him to go ahead and go through and proofread and edit, and then he will deliver it via this same interface. And in this interface, I'll be able to say, yes, he completed it, or no, I don't think so. We need to change some things. Although since this is a proofreading gig, it'll just be, okay, thank you, because there's no revisions as part of the process. And that's all there is to it, to ordering a gig on Fiverr. It is super simple, and you'll be amazed at how much more you can get done by just using these simple $5 to $30 or $50 gigs. So thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope you got some value out of this video, and it helped you generate some ideas of how you could leverage Fiverr to get more done in less time with growing your business, channel, or influence. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe for more click-by-click tutorials just like this one, and reviews on software and services to help you go further and faster with your business. And until the next, keep building the business you love.